Hey, well, good evening, everybody. It's me, Mike, with the Concert Spot, and welcome to another edition of the Concert Spot Live. And it is our Friday Night Funny edition where we're talking with some great stand-up comedians, about what they do with life on the road and all of that. So I want you, before we even get started here, to share this out with folks that you know, bring them in. We're going to spend the next, 15 to 30 minutes just kind of hanging out with a great guy, very funny, who I've known for a lot of years. But before we do that, I want to make sure that you are following this right here. Make sure you're on the Concert Spot, either on our Facebook page. You can also check us out. We're on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube, all there at The Concert Spot. You can find us in all those places. We'd love it if you'd give us a follow and share it all out, because that's what we do. So anyway, hey, this guy that we've got coming up tonight, I'm so excited about, because he probably, I'm not sure if he's the first, he's either the first or second stand-up comedian when I was early in my faith, that I was like, wait a minute, there's like Christian comedians or guys that do clean comedy. I was a big stand-up fan and always have been, but I remember getting his cassette tape. Yes, kids, cassette tapes, and just playing it over and over again. And I just was like blown away, and have had the privilege now to get to know him over the last few years and do some shows with him. So, without further ado, let's bring him in to the Concert Spot Live and the Friday Night Funny. It's Bob Smiley.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, Bob.
That was such a great introduction until you said cassette tape.
Hey, so yeah, it is showing the age, Yeah. Well, I don't know. Did that first one ever make it to an actual album, or was it just cassette tapes?
It was cassette tape and CD.
It did make, okay.
It made it to CD.
I was still poor. I was still with cassettes. I didn't have CDs yet.
That's how I met Tim Hawkins. He was working at a Christian bookstore, and he got my cassette tape. And so he emailed me, and he was like, hey, I'm starting to do comedy. I just want to introduce myself. And so the cassette tape got me you and got me Hawkins. So it was worth it.
Well, there we go. So, well, Bob, hey, thanks for being with us. And of course, we're getting to do this because of everything that's going on, right now. And, but it's one of those times when it's like, hey, let's innovate. Let's do some things. Let's try something new. And normally Friday night, you'd be out on the road somewhere across the U.S.
Yes. And I am going stir crazy. This is the longest I've been in 24 years. This is the longest that I've not done a show. In fact, I was at a grocery store. This is about a month ago, and I was pushing my cart, and these two ladies knew each other, and they were talking about how bad their kids were, because they were all starting to homeschool stuff. And I walked by, and I just simply said, we had our kids pack their bags and go to the neighbor's house and register as foreign exchange students. They laughed, and I stopped my cart. I didn't realize how bad I miss hearing people laugh, because I hadn't heard people laugh at my jokes in about a month, because it's just me, my wife, and my kids, and they don't. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. But I hadn't heard laughter in a while. And so it was all I could do not to take the mask off and just go into a whole show in front of these two people. So yeah, it's been a strange time.
And, Bob, talk about on the road. What do you do? Let's start this way. How many shows a year do you normally do? How much are you on the road during the year normally?
I usually try not to do more than 90 shows a year. I figured out that if I do 90, that's enough to support my family, but it's also not putting me on the road all the time. So normally the way it works out is I try to go out and do a Friday, Saturday show, and then I'm just home all week. And so that's been the schedule. I just skipped the Friday and Saturday part for the last 2.5 months.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we all have. And it's interesting because it is, like you said, you're at the grocery store doing that kind of thing. And I've seen a few of these online with varied success, of the idea of trying to do comedy, especially stand-up comedy, online.
Yeah. It is grueling. I've done about maybe 8 to 10 shows. The first one was our church called me up and they said, "Hey, will you come to the church building and record something for Sunday morning?" And so I, of course, did it. And I did not mentally prepare for it. Was me and two camera guys, and one of them was playing Angry Birds, so he wasn't even paying attention. So it was really just the one guy looking, and then
the other guy's just like,
yeah, he was. Oh, my lovely wife just found my cassette.
Oh, yep, there it is.
There it is.
Put it on eBay tonight.
Yeah, that's the one remaining. I actually have this. This is a side story, but I was doing shows in Alaska, and I stopped at a thrift store, and they had this cassette tape, my cassette tape, for $3. It was a mom and pop, like, very homemade thing. And here it is. You have it. Look at my assistant. So these were the two cassette tapes that were in the thrift store. It was the Newsboys and me, and their cassette tape was $1 and mine was $3. So I bought them. I talked them into a 2-for-1 deal, but and got $1 off. But yeah, I can't believe you still have that. That's so cool. But
those were some of your touring buddies.
Yeah, well, I bought it, and then I texted it to Peter Furler, and I was like, "Look who's moving past you," and he told me that I shouldn't have switched the price tags, to put them back the way they really were.
Well, Bob, now how long have you been on the road? I mean, how many years has it been you've been doing comedy?
I think this is my 24th year.
Okay. Yeah. So in that time, you've done a variety of things. So I know you as a stand-up, but you've done a bunch of those things, like with the Newsboys. You toured with, wasn't it Festival Con Dios?
Yeah, I did all 3 years of Festival Con Dios.
Which was kind of a traveling festival thing that was kind of headed up by the Newsboys back then, right?
Yeah, the Newsboys started. The Newsboys, they were so good to me early on. They met me. I did their Take Me to Your Leader tour. And Peter just liked my work ethic. I was doing merch for him, and then opening with 5 minutes of stand-up, and then kind of emceeing the show. And so that's kind of how I got my foot in the door on tours and stuff. And Peter just liked that I worked hard. I volunteered on tour to do all this other extra stuff. If there were radio interviews in the morning, I would get up and do them. I would train the staff, the security guards. And so I would do all this extra stuff, and they just really liked that. And so they just kept bringing me out. I remember I did that tour, and then I toured with the Supertones and then Plank Eye. And then all of a sudden I didn't have a tour, and my shows had dried up. I just become a dad. And I remember looking, and I had 3 shows on a span of 4 months. And so I was like, well, that's it. I gave it a good try. By the way, I'm clearing my throat. It's not Corona. I have to say that.
We're going to have you tested before the end of the show.
No, I went and tested. It's something called COVID.
Okay. That's good.
So it's not Corona. And I scored a 19 on it. But anyway, so I thought, well, my comedy career is over. I had a good span. I did it for 3-4 years. And so I got a job working in a banner factory, working in a warehouse to make banners, just to make enough money until then. I was going to move. I was living in Nashville. I was going to move back to Texas and start teaching, because that's what I got my degree in. So I thought the career was done, because I never really started out to be a comedian anyway. So it always was just a thing that I was like, oh, I guess I'm doing it for now. And when I was walking out of the house to go do this interview to work in this banner shop, the Newsboys called me, and they were like, hey, how many shows you got this spring? And I was like, well, I don't want to brag, but I've got 3. And they were like, well, we've got like 64. Do you want to tour with us again? And so that's what kept me in still doing comedy, is the Newsboys would, Festival Con Dios and just a whole bunch of stuff. And Peter, I really do owe him a gratitude. I should probably send him a cassette tape. He used to talk to promoters all the time about me and tell them to have me at their festivals. And he was really kind of a big megaphone for me.
No, Did
you freeze? Did I lose you? Did I lose you? Are you not there? Did you do what most people back when I was dating? Did you just hang up? Okay, now I don't even know how to comment. Oh, here we go. Hey, babe. Oh, never mind. I can do it with my phone. It just froze. Am I on? Can people hear me? Because I can't hear you, Mike. It just froze, but it looks like I'm still live. Do you remember this happened last time? Look at my wife's beautiful arm.
Okay, stop. No, you're still good.
Yeah, I'm good. I think it's Mike Alley. I'm gonna text him. So I am live. This happened with the Sean Shaw show.
Yeah.
So, does anybody have any questions for my new show that I just took over right now? Anybody?
Hey.
No. I'd like to welcome my next guest, Mike Alley, to my show, The Concert Spot. Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself. When did you first hear my cassette tape?
Let me tell you, Bob, that was probably, and you don't want to know that, but sorry about that. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Both of my screens just went out all at the same time, and our weather outside is lovely. So I know it wasn't a lightning strike, but anyway.
It may have been Toby Mac like hacking in because I was talking too much about Peter.
That might have been. I don't know. Something going on there. It was a little weird. But anyway, so Bob, you've done tour, and of course you've done solo. One of the things that has been legendary over the years, and I know people poke fun at you about it, but is the fact that you are known for being cheap.
Good looking.
And I'm going to say this. Here's the thing. I think there's a thing of cheapness, which is, I'm not going to spend money on a certain type of thing. You, my friend, are super frugal.
There you
That's
go.
what I would put you in that category is. And so how does that play out when you go to a hotel room?
Well, one good positive thing about this whole pandemic and quarantine is people are rushing around to get toilet paper. I have always taken the toilet paper from the hotel rooms that I pay for. So I pay for that toilet paper, and I have stockpiled. And so I used to get made fun of mostly by somebody that's in the kitchen right now. And she was like, don't do that. That's so, and then all of a sudden everything went on lockdown and I was a genius. So yes, so we've had plenty of toilet paper, plenty of shampoo, conditioner. If you want Tiny soap, man, you know where to go.
So one of our friends, Jack, is asking your most prized bottle of Tiny shampoo.
I got one from, I did a show for all the troops, like going around to all the different places, and I was in Fort Polk, and I got a little shampoo bottle from the barracks that they put me in. And George W. Bush had stayed in that room like 3 nights before, and it was half used. So I'm thinking the president used some of it. So I have that. But yeah, that's probably my most prized bottle of shampoo.
And Bob, also when it comes to that, you did something, and I know you posted it, and we'll get to your podcast here in a couple of minutes. But I know you posted something on one of your Instagram lives a few weeks ago, actually about the shampoo you bring home. You actually give it away, right?
Oh yeah. So to be serious for a second, I take all the shampoo, and if I'm doing 90 to 100 shows a year, that really does add up. And so we have a homeless program in this town just north of us called Conroe House of Prayer. And so when we get a bag of it, we will take the soap and the shampoo and the conditioners and stuff and take it up there and donate it to them so they can pass it out to the homeless people who really like it, because they're trying to get clean in gas station bathrooms and stuff like that. And the Conroe House of Prayer actually has a room where they can go in and shower and do all that stuff. So yeah, so it's not as funny an answer, but it's kind of a cool thing, is that all my traveling does help other people.
Yeah, I just thought that was really cool because you have been over the years people, busting on you about the, that ability to wait, there's a half a leftover thing of something in catering. Oh, Bob's going to take that,
I would
But
seriously, because when I first started, I was a starving artist. So that was one of the bonuses of traveling with the Newsboys. They wouldn't go to their green room after the show. And so I would go in with my backpack and every night load up on any fruit tray stuff or any, candy bars or anything, Coca-Cola. I finally got to have real Coke, the off brand. And so that kept me fed on tours, and I'd bring it home and that would keep my family fed for a while. So yeah, my frugalness, I didn't realize that I was frugal until I was telling one of my comedy friends about my apartment when I first moved to Nashville, and I didn't buy shower curtain rings because they were like $1.75, and I already had a box of rubber bands. So I used rubber bands because I wasn't going to spend like $1.75 on shower curtain rings. And I was telling my friends that, and they were like, "What? Who does that?" And I was like, "Oh, maybe I'm a little different."
That's all right. Hey, you know what? That's DIY right now.
Yeah.
You can't go out, don't want to go out.
That's right.
Bob Smiley's home improvement show. So let's go. So Liz wants to know what a cassette tape is. That means you're too young, Liz.
Yeah.
So that's just wrong. But
you go through that kind of stuff where you realize like you get old. I have my old phone from my college dorm. Just the regular, pick up old, push button. And I remember one of my, I think it was my middle kid, Trent. He came into my office one day, and that phone was sitting on the floor, and he looked at it and he picked the receiver up and he chunked it, and it went out. It had the little squiggly cord, and then he started pushing buttons, and he goes, "What button do I push to make it come back?" And I realized he didn't know it was a phone. He thought it was some toy that you threw out and then pushed buttons and it pulled it back in. And I was like, "Oh, it's a brave new world."
Oh my goodness. Hey, Bob, so Angie's asking, what level did you train to teach? I happen to know Angie. She's a 5th grade teacher, so she's very interested, I'm sure.
Okay. I got my degree in elementary ed. I got certified to teach up through 6th grade at the time. I did my student teaching in 2nd grade and 5th grade, though, and I really like 5th grade.
Wow. So there could have been, in a different world, people going, "Good morning, Mr. Smiley."
Good morning, Mr. Smiley. Yeah.
Oh,
and
my.
All my kids, I'm really good friends with a lot of the teachers and the principal. And so they'll have me come usually once or twice a year, and I get to, talk to the kids and stuff like that. So I still get to kind of go in and do some fun stuff. But yeah, that was my dream. I was never going to be a comedian. I was going to be a teacher and then a principal and a superintendent. Like I had my life totally planned out. And then God was like, "Oh, no, you're going to do this," and started opening doors for me. And so.
Well, and Bob Lauren has a question. How's Sarah? So first off, you should explain who Sarah is and then tell us how she is.
Sarah is my lovely and talented, beautiful, anything else? No. Okay. Wife. She is my wife of almost 2 years. And what do you want to know about her? She's very, very funny. She's gorgeous. She never eavesdrops or listens in when she's not supposed to be. And I love everything about her.
Well, Bob, I think that leads us into this probably.
Oh, there we go.
The Hook, Line, and Smiley podcast that you and Sarah do. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the podcast, kind of how it got started, and what you guys talk about on that.
Well, so Sarah is very, very funny. In fact, we were talking to this other couple that live in our neighborhood, and they were kind of fighting with each other. And so as we were walking away, I said to her, I was like, "Can you imagine being quarantined with somebody that drives you totally crazy?" And Sarah was like, "Yeah, it's not great." And I was like, "Yeah, what?" And so she's very quick-witted. She's very funny. And so when we first started, hanging out with other people would say, "You guys are great together. You should figure out how to do something. And one night we were having a picnic, kind of a little date, and we were out by this little lake, and it was great. And we were talking about some serious topics because we both have kind of been through a lot. And we were talking about some serious topics, but we were also cracking jokes. And so I was just thinking, it's such an interesting conversation. I was like, there's got to be a way, we got to find some outlet, because I wanted the things that she makes me want to be a better person. She is an amazing, inspiring person. And so I wanted the world to get a glimpse of that. And so I just brought it up one day, and we started talking about the podcast, and she started calling it her podcast pretty quickly and took ownership of it. She actually came up with the name Hook, Line, and Smiley, and we started the podcast in January, and episode 23 came out this Thursday. And the response, honestly, I knew people would like the comedy on there. I didn't know if people would enjoy or would even care about some of the serious topics. So, we're handling topics of divorce, blending a family, forgiveness, how to forgive people that have wronged you in the past. And then, we'll do a podcast over the strangest thing we've eaten, or, the weirdest thing we've done. So it's kind of all over the board, but we do try to have some good takeaway stuff. And we get more response of people saying, hey, I'm going through a struggling time, or, hey, my spouse just left me. So seeing you two talk about the struggles that you guys have went through and how to get the podcast actually is like helping people, I feel like. So I'm really proud of it, but it is funny too. We say booger a couple of times. So, I just want to make people, want to tune in at least.
Just to let them know who's the funny one, remind them just like that's what's happening. So, Bob, do you just find it on your website? Is that the easiest way to?
Go to Mr. Alley's homepage, bobsmiley.com, and scroll down to the bottom, and you can click on that, and it'll take you to the website. But you can find it on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, pretty much anywhere that you get your podcasts.
Anywhere you find podcasts, that's where it will be. So
and Mac Powell of Mac Powell and the Family Reunion is a band now, but a lot of you guys probably know him from Third Day. He actually gave us a song to intro our podcast with. So and it's called Woo. And so we have a Woo moment of the week where we talk about, what's the best thing that's happened this week. And so that's been another fun interactive part, as people start sending us their Woo moment of the week. And, we're just trying to remind people that there is joy even in a weird, pandemic.
Yeah. There's another podcast that I've been listening to. I'm going to mess up his name. The comedy actor, Camille Najani and his wife, Emily Gordon, have been doing a limited podcast called Staying In, which has been all about this. And they have a neat way. They've been calling it the Weirds.
Oh,
so,
I like that.
We call it we're in the weirds right now instead of in the weeds, or, we're in the weirds. And so that has been, that's been something I've been following, and it's been good. So, hey, Bob, we're getting close to the end here. We do a thing basically called 5 questions. And so there's stuff about the road and what you do. So what is, number 1, your favorite road snack?
My favorite road snack is chili Cheetos, or not Cheetos, chili
Fritos, right?
Yeah. The barbecue Fritos. Yeah.
You know how I can tell you're married? Because you looked over at Sarah and went, "Is that right? That's what I like, right?"
This is how long I've been off the road. I forgot what my favorite road snack is called.
Other than your Bible and your phone, what's the one thing you can't go on tour without?
My wedding ring.
Ooh, very nice.
Huh? Did you hear that? Please tell me you heard that.
Do you hear it? Okay, good. It's going to be a good day when you walk into the green room or to catering and you see what?
Mike Alley.
Oh, now. All right. What's your Venmo? Let me send you the money. Outside of just.
Can I tell a really funny story real quick?
Sure, of course.
I want to keep this in time, but it is funny because sometimes I'll go to a green room and there won't even be a chair, or sometimes I'll go to a green room and there'll be huge fruit tray and coffee. They'll find out that I like coffee and stuff. And so it really is. It does start things off right if you walk into a green room and they're like, "Hey, we're excited for you to be here." I went to one show. I'll make this quick, I promise. But one of my favorite shows ever I was doing it was a Christian, not prom, but kind of anti-prom like celebration thing where they were just having a banquet, but no dance or anything. So it wasn't sinful. And so they had all of the juniors and seniors sitting in the deal. What made me think of this was they had no green room and they forgot my name whenever they were introducing me. But I got up and they were all seated and they had their meal and then they served cake to everybody. But they said, don't eat your cake until after Bob's performance. And except I think they called me Dave. And so there was a kid sitting right in front of me. He turned his chair around. And so the table was behind him. And when he would laugh, he would bend over like that. And so one time he bent over, and because I hadn't had any food, I picked up his fork and took a bite of the cake really quick. And then put the fork, because there was no stage. I was just like roaming around the room. And so then it became game on. And I timed it where every time he leaned down, I would take another bite. So over my whole show, I ate his entire piece of cake. And then when I finished the show, I said, all right, I'm going to let you guys turn around and enjoy your cake. Thank you. You know, I'm Dave Smiley or whatever they called me.
All right.
And the guy turned around and he was like, who ate my cake? And they were like, the comedian. And he was like, no, it was one of the best. Sorry, that just popped in my brain.
No, that's a good one. I love that. I'm just like, that kid for the rest of his life is like, Bob Smiley ate my cake.
He ate my cake.
Bob Smiley ate my cake. I may know this, Bob, but if you're, especially with stand-up comedy, one of the things I know as a promoter we love is the fact that most of the time you don't have to get there till later in the afternoon. So you have the day to kind of do things or hang out in the town or whatever. What's your favorite show day activity? Like you're coming in somewhere. What are you doing? Where are you going if you've got some time?
This is going to sound really boring, but I try to get all my work done when I'm on the road so that when I'm home, I can just be home and spend that time with my family. So I tried to get better. The last year, I was getting a little bit better of looking up stuff to do in the town, and getting out of my room and stuff. But I used to just go to the hotel room and I'd write or I'd work on, I write the comedy devotionals for Focus on the Family. The devotions for super average kids. And so I'd work on those. I write the Adventures of Average Boy for their Clubhouse magazine. So I would work on all that stuff. So I would try to get all that stuff done while I was on the road. So it's a pretty boring answer. Or I'll go for a jog. Like I'm a runner. So I just getting out and getting some fresh air. I'll just go for a jog. But I never was, like, oh, I want to go see the largest ball of twine or, anything like that.
So you're not looking for the guidebook for the town to necessarily do that. It's like get it done so that you can have your time at home and you're not having to spend time doing that other stuff. So when you're out, so you're taking a run or if you're not working, what's your favorite go-to like audio? Is it like music? Is it other podcasts? Is it audiobooks? What do you do?
I was mowing yesterday, not that I'm bragging, but my career is on fire. And I was mowing and I realized it's the first time I've listened to music in probably 2 months because all I listen to now is podcasts. So when I'm running or whenever I'm driving around, I'm always listening to podcasts. And my wife's got me on, what's a podcast that sounds fun? Annie
Downs.
I listen to Dax Shepard because he usually has a lot of comedians on. Pete Holmes, pretty interesting interviewer. So I like him. I'm trying to think of I used to listen to this guy. It was called Potty Break. I used to listen to that one quite a bit, and I was on half of them. That's it. But I really will go back and listen to some of our old stuff on Tim's podcast. But
yeah, we should mention that's Tim Hawkins' podcast, which he did it for what?
He did 100 episodes.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, so it's on there, and if he was on TV, that's enough to go into syndication. So, but but yeah, that was a lot of fun, and that was kind of a cool thing too, because it was on his bus most of the time, and kind of behind the scenes with a lot of the comedians.
It was not, we never planned it. Like we planned, okay, we're going to record after this show, while we're driving on the bus, but we would never talk about what we were going to talk about. Yeah. And every single time we would just kind of lock in and just start talking about random stuff, and it would turn into some comedy bit. It was that I miss that dude so much. I mean, I talked to him on the phone a lot, but I miss just hanging out.
Yeah. Well, Bob, hey man, thanks for spending some time with us tonight. I know it's not like any of us had anything else to do. So, but
Sure.
it's what we do. I'd appreciate it. So hit Bob's website up, bobsmiley.com for all the details in his podcast and eventually your shows again. So
Yes,
we're
please.
looking forward to that. But Bob, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Yeah, great talking to you.
All right. Thanks, Bob. And you know what? I want to thank you. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. And Bob, be looking for more stuff from the Concert Spot. As a matter of fact, next Wednesday at 3:00, we start our Concert Spot Live. And we're going to be interviewing Darren Mulligan from We Are Messengers. He's going to be with us for a few minutes starting next Wednesday live. Of course, as we said before, follow us on all our channels. We're on Facebook and Instagram, Twitter. You can subscribe on YouTube as well and get all of these latest feeds. And our podcast is coming very soon. So, hey, hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And we will talk to you guys real soon.